Hey everyone, these 15 uncharted islands have incredible beauty and remain largely untouched by mainstream tourism. These hidden gems scattered across the world's oceans offer amazing landscapes and stunning beaches. So join me, I'm exploring 15 uncharted islands that look incredible. Starting with number 15, Snow Hill Island. Lying off the east coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, it's almost a completely snow-capped landmass. It stretches about 21 miles in length and 7.5 miles wide. The island was discovered in 1843 and would quickly become the home base of explorers as they would venture to neighboring islands along the Antarctic Peninsula. From then on out, it became a hotbed of research despite being so cold. Snow Hill Island is entirely uninhabited by humans, but has a remarkable natural wonder, a thriving colony of emperor penguins. The island's southwestern extremity is recognized as an important bird area by BirdLife International due to its significant emperor penguin population. Chicks from other colonies, which often reach the sea covered in down and unable to swim. However, it's the delayed development of the chicks here that provides the unique opportunity for tourists to visit the colony while the chicks are still under the care of their parents. Number 14, Herald Island. Herald Island is a small, isolated Russian island located in the Chukchi Sea, 30 nautical miles east of Waring Point. The island has sheer cliffs, making it quite inaccessible by ship or plane. The only accessible shoreline is at its northwestern point, where the cliffs have crumbled into piles of loose rocks and gravel. Covering an area of about 4 square miles and reaching a maximum height of about 1,200 feet above sea level, Herald Island is unglaciated and uninhabited. It is the northeasternmost point of land in Russia. On paper, Herald Island belongs to the Chukotka Autonomous Okrug of the Russian Federation. Along with Wrangel Island, it's been part of the Island Wildlife Preserve, a Russian national park, since 1976. Cape Dmitrievo on number 13, Tetepare Island. Tetepare Island is the largest uninhabited island in the South Pacific, covering approximately 46 square miles. Its uninhabited nature has allowed it to remain a pristine haven for both terrestrial and marine biodiversity. Researchers have recorded 230 bird species, 24 reptile species, 4 frogs, and 13 mammal species. And the island's coral reefs are second only to Raja Ampat in Indonesia in terms of fish and coral diversity. Tetepare's volcanic black sand beaches are nesting grounds for 3 species of marine turtles, the critically endangered leatherback and hawksbill turtles, and the endangered green turtle. It's also home to Solomon Island's skink, the largest living skink, as well as the mangrove monitor and the Pacific ground boa. Local communities, particularly from neighboring Rendova Island, have a long history of managing the natural resources here sustainably. They help regulate the wild pig population through regular hunting trips, which are crucial into the southwest. This isolated atoll has no permanent population and is administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service of the U.S. Department of Interior. It also serves as a wildlife refuge and research station, hosting a variable, transient population of about 4 to 20 staff and scientists. These individuals are employed by various U.S. government departments, the Nature Conservancy, and the Atoll Research Consortium. Submerged portions are managed by the Department of the Interior's Office of Insular Affairs. Visitors to Palmyra Atoll must take precautions to prevent introducing new invasive species. All belongings are required to be frozen and disinfected before arrival. This careful management ensures the preservation of the atoll's unique and fragile ecosystem. Number 11. Kerguelen Islands. The Kerguelen Islands, also aptly named the Desolation Islands, are an incredibly remote and uninhabited group of islands in the sub-Antarctic. They form one of the 2 exposed parts of the Kerguelen Plateau. It's on the islands, with about 45 to 100 soldiers, scientists, engineers, and researchers who rotate to conduct various missions and research projects. The seas surrounding this archipelago are notoriously rough, yet remain ice-free throughout the year. Even in the warmest month, the average temperature remains below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds here also are quite literally never stopping. On average, the wind blows about 19 knots, but can be as high as 100 knots. But despite the harsh conditions and the cold air, these islands are home to indigenous animals like large populations of ocean-going seabirds, seals, and penguins. The only native terrestrial animals you'll find here are insects, and oddly enough though, feral cats, descended from ship's cats, prey on the seabirds and feral rabbits here, which were also introduced by humans long ago. Number 10. North and South Brother Islands. North and South Brother Islands are two small abandoned islands located in New York City's East River. Actually, it served no formal purpose until a lighthouse was constructed on its southern end by 1869. By the 1880s, the island became more prominent due to public health concerns in the growing city, and this isolated location made it an ideal site for a quarantine hospital. The islands were privately owned for the nearly 200 years until 2007, when they were purchased by the federal government with support from the Trust for Public Land. Today, North Brother Island is an example of the resilience of nature. The overgrowth of trees and vegetation has enveloped the remnants of its past structures, creating an eerie yet captivating landscape. The island's status as a bird sanctuary has helped protect nesting grounds for the black-crowned night heron, a threatened species, and this protection has inadvertently preserved the island's historical fragments, offering a unique glimpse into New York City's wild and crazy past. Number 9. Macquarie Island. Situated roughly midway between Antarctica and Tasmania, Macquarie Island, Asian supercontinent, gave rise to the Himalayas. Although the resulting elevation here is modest, reaching only about 1,300 feet at its highest, the island's exposure of oceanic crust and mantle rocks is of great scientific value. Its biodiversity here on the island suffered greatly over the following decades due to human activity. However, as recent conservation efforts led by the Australian government have focused on eradicating invasive species and restoring the island's native habitats, these campaigns have seen some success, resulting in a more balanced and thriving ecosystem. Number 8. Ball's Pyramid. Ball's Pyramid, the remnants of a massive volcano, juts about 1,800 feet out of the Pacific Ocean. It's one of the surviving above-ground remnants of the once lost and recently found sunken continent of Zealandia. Ball's Pyramid lies about 14 miles east of Lord Howe Island and measures about a half-mile in length and about 980 feet across, making it the tallest volcanic stack. It was discovered and extinct after black rats introduced to the island when a supply ship ran aground in 1918 decimated their population. In 2001, scientists found a small colony of these huge stick insects living under a single bush 100 feet up on Ball's Pyramid. Just 27 of the insects have been found on Ball's Pyramid, and they're currently being bred in captivity to ensure their survival. Moving on to number 7, the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands are a remote subtropical island arc in the South Pacific, well over 500 miles northeast of New Zealand and Tonga. The islands are uninhabited except for a permanently staffed Raoul Island Station, the northernmost outpost of New Zealand. Now, these islands form an arc that converge at a boundary where the Pacific Plate subducts under the Indo-Australian Plate. This subduction created the Kermadec Trench, a 5-mile deep submarine trench. A few other volcanoes in the chain don't reach sea level but instead have formed as seamounts. As you would expect with a chain of volcanic islands, researchers combed through hundreds of hours of unused documentary footage. In 2016, a red velvet whalefish and an anglerfish were discovered in the waters around the islands. So naturally, visits to Kermadec Islands are highly restricted by the Department of Conservation. Tourists need not apply. Number 6. Dassin Island. Dassin Island is an uninhabited island off the coast of South Africa in the Atlantic Ocean, located about 34 miles north of the capital of Cape Town. Historically, Dassin Island has been called various names, including Ilha Branca or White Island by the early Portuguese mariners. The name Dassin Island derives from the Dutch word das, meaning badger, or the Afrikaans word dassie, which refers to the rock rabbits encountered by the island's early discoverers. The island is geologically underpinned by fine-grained tourmaline granite with zones of biotite granite, and these ancient intrusive rocks are partially covered by sand and rounded boulders, which mean commercial exploitation of their eggs and the collection of guano, which the birds use to burrow and nest. Number 5. Deception Island. Deception Island, located in the South Shetland Islands near the Antarctic Peninsula, is a fascinating place. It's a large, natural harbor, often seen as a safe haven, and it belies the island's volatile nature. This seemingly peaceful island is actually the caldera of an active volcano, which causes significant damage to local scientific stations in 1967 and 69. Today, it draws over 15,000 tourists annually, despite its harsh environment. Its deceptive calm is rooted in its history. It was first spotted by British sealers William Smith and Edward Bransfield in January of 1820. The name Deception Island stems from its misleading appearance. What looks like a typical island is actually a ring around a flooded caldera. The island is the exposed part of an 18-mile-wide active shield volcano, which includes 4 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and water temperatures can reach 158 degrees, which is enough to boil an egg. However, these conditions create a unique ecosystem, supporting a variety of rare plant species. Number 4. Cocos Island. Cocos Island is a remote island in the Pacific administered by Costa Rica, lying about 342 miles southeast of Costa Rican mainland. It's known for its marine biodiversity. This island is hailed as one of the top scuba diving destinations in the world. Its underwater ecosystem is a treasure trove of marine life, where encounters with large pelagic fish are very common. Its coral reefs are among the most extensive in the Pacific. Legendary oceanographer Jacques Cousteau, who visited the island multiple times, once called it the most beautiful island in the world. Well, such high praise underscores the need for stringent protection. Despite the allure, though, Cocos Island is uninhabited, with only Costa Rican park rangers residing there. Visitors, including tourists and ship crewman José de la Serna, allegedly entrusted a massive treasure to the British trader Captain William Thompson for safekeeping. Thompson and his crew murdered the Viceroy's men and sailed to Cocos Islands, where they supposedly buried the treasure. Shortly after, they were captured by a Spanish warship. Today, treasure hunting on Cocos Islands is strictly prohibited by the Costa Rican government. Number 3. Bear Island. Bear Island is the southernmost island of the Norwegian Svalbard archipelago, discovered by Dutch explorers on June 10, 1596. The island was named after a polar bear spotted swimming nearby. Despite its intriguing history, though, and occasional commercial activities like coal mining, fishing, and whaling, Bear Island's harsh climate and barren landscape have made it inhospitable. Its history began with its discovery by Barents, who once named it Bird Island due to the abundance of seabirds. The island was used as a base for hunting walruses and seals from the early 17th century, and seabird eggs were harvested guillemots, thick-billed guillemots, and black guillemots. Additionally, Bear Island serves as a migratory stop for pink-footed geese, barnacle geese, and long-tailed ducks. Despite the harsh conditions, though, the island's natural beauty and diverse wildlife continue to draw interest from the scientific community and adventurous visitors. Number 2. Aldabra Atoll. The Aldabra Atoll, the world's second largest coral atoll, is located in the Indian Ocean and is part of the outer islands of the Seychelles, lying about 700 miles southwest of the capital, Victoria, on Mahé Island. Initially named by Arab seafarers for its harsh environment, Aldabra's history includes French and British colonial periods, with significant exploitation of its resources, particularly the giant tortoises. In the 1960s, potential military use threatened the atoll, but international protests led to its protection. Today, Aldabra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and remains uninhabited by humans save for a few scientists. The atoll's being a cyclone-prone region, its proximity to the equator makes cyclones pretty rare. Conservation challenges on Aldabra include invasive species and plastic pollution. In 2019, a significant cleanup effort removed large amounts of plastic waste, but an estimated 500 tons still remains. Its isolation and harsh climate make it pretty tough for human habitation, but its ecological importance can't be overstated. The atoll continues to be a vital site for scientific research and conservation, offering a glimpse into a unique and largely untouched natural world. Number 1. Devon Island. Devon Island is the largest uninhabited island in the world, located in Baffin Bay in Nunavut, Canada. It's part of the Arctic archipelago and the second largest of the Queen Elizabeth Islands, with an area of over 21,000 square miles. It's as big as its own little country. The island's barren, Mars-like landscape has drawn considerable scientific interest. Diameter. The impact created a 14-mile-wide crater that was a lake for several million years, and today the crater is one of the world's best analogs for Mars, attracting scientists for Mars simulation projects. Since 1997, the Flashline Mars Arctic Research Station and the Haunton Mars Project have utilized Devon Island for research, simulating conditions on Mars. In 2007, fossils of a seal ancestor were discovered on Devon Island, adding to its significance here. The Canadian Space Agency has also used the island for training astronauts such as Jeremy Hansen in preparation for potential future missions to Mars, the Moon, or even asteroids. And because the winters here on Devon Island are so harsh, researchers can only work in the crater during the still cold summer.